Hello, everybody, and welcome to the 2025 State Track and Field Qualifying Schools meeting. My name is Charlie Campbell, an Associate Director with the Minnesota State High School League and the Director of the Track and Field Tournament. These slides are designed to assist you in your preparation and participation in the State Track and Field meet at St. Michael Albertville High School on June 10, 11, and 12. Congratulations, and thank you for viewing this meeting. On this slide, you can see the scope of topics that we will review throughout today's meeting. And on the next slide, you'll be introduced to tournament staff and league staff, some of whom will assist me in narrating today's meeting. On this slide are a number of staff that you will see around the state tournament, starting with tournament manager and Region 3A Secretary, Mr. Bob Gray. Assisting him will be Park Center Activities Director, Keely Sorensen. John Pursoon is our head meet referee and also the statewide track and field rules coordinator. And of course, supporting track and field from within the league office, Amy Ince. You will hear from John and Amy throughout this meeting, as well as Laura Mockentune on our next slide to talk about the website and resources available to you through the website.
State tournament participants, as well as spectators, can find information about the state track meet on the public side of the website. Going under sports and activities and choosing track and field boys or track and field girls will provide information such as the schedule, a spectator guide, apparel links, streaming links, results, and a link to the souvenir program. The track and field souvenir program is available online only. Please work with your spectators to view, print, bookmark, whatever works for them to most easily access the program. Apparel for the state track and field meet will be available on site at St. Michael Albertville on Monday during the practice sessions, as well as Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday. We encourage you to purchase early for best selection. Apparel will also be available online. NSPN.TV will be streaming the entire state track and field meet and have multiple cameras set up. They are a subscription piece. This includes $10 per month or $30 a year for their subscription fee. A ticket is required for each session of the state track meet. Ticket prices are $13 per session for adults and $8 per session for students. Tickets should be purchased online to facilitate quick entry at the gates, and all tickets must be shown on a smartphone. Additional information about the state track meet with information specific to coaches and ADs can be found on dashboards. After logging into the dashboard, look for the large blue banner that says My Sports and Activities. Find the banner that says Track and Field, either girls and boys. Click the plus on the far right side to open that. And on the far right side, you will see state tournament resources. Again, this is for coaches and ADs to find information specific to their part in the state meet.
Good day, everyone, and congrats to all teams and individuals in qualifying for the 2025 Minnesota State High School League's Track and Field State Meet. These next two slides will share information on professional media coverage and photography. In sharing information with the professional media in your community, please remind them that a credential application process for on-site access must be completed by Monday, June 9th at 7 p.m. There are an abundance of resources available on the League's media page that can assist in coverage preparation. For the member school administrators and coaches in this meeting, a reminder that the Track and Field State Meet is not included in the League's student and school media program. This next slide deals with spectator photography. ADs and coaches, please share the following information with your community. The league has developed spectator photography policies for all of its postseason events. Spectators are permitted to bring into the venue a basic point-and-shoot camera that has a lens that's no longer than 2 inches. The lens is not to be detachable. Any individual with a professional-looking camera with a lens longer than 2 inches must be approved and credentialed as a media member. Passgate personnel are instructed to not permit professional-looking cameras into the event. Please be advised that event personnel may inform you that if a camera doesn't fit the definition or description of a basic point-and-shoot model, you will be asked to stop taking photos. Cell phones are permitted. As you see here, spectator photography locations are limited to the spectator seating areas. Of course, the league stresses respectful behavior. Again, please share with your community so that proper planning can take place on these coverage pieces. That's it for me on media updates. Congratulations again, safe travels to the track and field state meet, and good luck to all. Charlie, back to you.
As you plan your meet logistics and travel, be mindful of significant construction on Interstate 94, both directions between St. Michael and Monticello. It is likely that traffic will be backed up at any time of day on either side of the highway, eastbound or westbound. So please allow extra time to arrive at St. Michael Albertville in your planning schedule. The information on this slide will help you as you consider arrival on site at St. Michael Albertville High School. If you are coming in a school bus or oversized vehicle, you will arrive on the south side of the campus footprint. You can see here the red arrows towards the bottom of the image in this slide. You can drop right near the team camp area and the pass gate, and then park at the Fieldstone Elementary School parking lot as you continue traveling eastbound on that south frontage road. If you are arriving in a school vehicle, suburban, or car, we have parking just to the north of the stadium, between the stadium and the field house area, and you can see in the purple print, that is where you will be parked. St. Michael Albertville will have staff there, and they will allow 1 car per school to park in this lot. Please do not attempt to park with more than 1 vehicle. You will be checked off as you enter, and no other vehicles from your school will be allowed. As always, this information is found in your dashboard, as Laura mentioned earlier. On this slide, you get an accurate overview of the competition areas. If you have traveled and participated at the state meet at St. Michael in previous years, this layout will be quite familiar to you. If you are new to the state tournament and bringing athletes for the first time, please review this map, and you will be well acquainted with the site when you arrive. The site map from the previous slide can be found in the Participating Schools Guide for further review. The team camp area will be in the softball fields just west of the stadium and registration area. Tents and equipment should be removed at the end of each day. The league or St. Michael Albertville will not be responsible for any tents or equipment that are left overnight. Accessing the venue will happen through the pass gate entrance near registration. Once you are in the venue, if you have made your way to the bleachers, you can access the clerking area and restricted area by passing to the south end of the bleachers. And if you have a wristband or a bib number, security will let you through. Also, you may pass behind the stadium, and that passage is reserved for officials, tournament staff, coaches, and athletes. Please move quickly through this area to keep clerking area flowing and to allow for vehicles that may be passing through to do so safely. For schools that may be interested, the facility will be open on Monday, June 9th from 9 to 6 p.m. To warm up, to get a preview of the site, The cost is $3 per athlete to use the facility at that time. We will also have on-site apparel available on that Monday from 8 a.m. to 4 p.m. Would be a good day to make all of those apparel purchases, so it does not need to happen on your competition day. Also note that prior to the start of each competitive session, we will have the track open for runners to warm up. That is from 8 to 8:45 for the morning sessions, 2:30 to 3:15 for the afternoon sessions. Once we get into the competitive sessions, there will be a warm-up spot available in the designated area in the infield. Once athletes are marshaled onto the track, again, they must be escorted and marshaled onto the track prior to their event. The infield is not open to any other athletes once the session has started. Warm-ups at the field events are permitted during the designated warm-up times. Please check your participating schools guide for those. And note that we will have hurdles available in the STMA Activity Center and Team Camp area for warm-up as well.
This is Amy Inns, Track and Field Administrative Assistant at the Minnesota State High School League. When you arrive on site at the state meet, you will pick up your team packet at the registration tent, which is located at the southwest end of the venue. If you have both boys and girls participating in the state meet, there will be 2 separate packets, one for your boys team and one for your girls team. Your packet will contain competitor numbers for each athlete, as well as your 2 coaches' entry wristbands. All members of your coaching staff entering through the pass gate must have completed all of their education requirements on the coach's dashboard. This includes both the general and track and field annual rules modules, as well as the 4 continuing education requirement modules. There will be 2 complimentary coaches' entry wristbands in each team packet. Again, if you have both boys and girls participating, you will receive 2 packets, each with 2 wristbands. Additional wristbands may be purchased. Any coach using a complimentary or purchase wristband to enter through the pass gate must be an official member of your school's coaching staff and have met all of the online requirements listed on the previous slide. Coaches' wristbands are only for official members of your coaching staff. Non-qualifying team members, students, spouses, or children must purchase spectator tickets at the main entrance on the north end of the venue. Additional coaches' entry wristbands can be purchased ahead of time by the activities director at your school using a link that will be sent to them prior to the state meet. The cost is $26 for wristbands purchased during the prelim session, and they are valid for both your prelims and final sessions. Beginning with the Wednesday afternoon final session, wristbands are $13 and are valid for 1 final session. Coaches' wristbands are non-transferable and must be worn for the duration of the state meet for entry through the pass gate. Purchasing additional wristbands ahead of time will expedite your registration and check-in process. If you have a field event athlete, you will also receive a color-coded wristband in your team packet that provides one coach access to the coach's box for that event. Field event wristbands will be provided by event as shown on this slide, and these field event wristbands must be worn with the coach's entry wristband. One coach per school is allowed in the field event coach's box during warm-ups and while your athletes are competing.
This is John Pursoon, the head official for the state track and field meet, and I'm going to review some things regarding the competition and the rules. Let's start with some housekeeping items. Competitors must wear their competitor number to gain access to the restricted areas of the facility, including the clerking area, the track, and field event venues. Athletes are issued a single number bib, which must be worn when competing. The competitor number must be attached to the back of the uniform, with the exception of the high jump where it may be worn on the front. Coaches, you may enter up to 8 athletes on a relay card. Completed relay cards should be brought to the clerking area prior to or during check-in for that relay team. Inspection of implements for field events will be done at the implement inspection tent located near the discus cages. Implement inspection will be from 8 a.m. till 9 a.m. and again from 2:30 p.m. until 3:30 p.m. each day of the meet. Please encourage your throwers to make sure they arrive early enough to allow for inspection of implements and warm-ups before the event starts. Remember that the Minnesota modifications to the rules allow an athlete to compete in only 3 running events. An athlete that has qualified for 2 individual events may be listed on multiple relay cards, but may only participate in one of those relays. Also, competitors are not allowed to compete in more than 2 events of 800 meters or longer. Please be aware of this when filling out relay cards for the 4x800 meter relay. Now let's review some important information regarding athlete check-in and procedures for athletes competing in concurrent events. First, athletes are strongly encouraged to have their spikes checked either on the practice day, Monday, June 9th, or as soon as they arrive at the site on the day they compete. There will be officials dedicated to checking spikes during the practice day, during the warm-up periods prior to each session, and throughout each session. A reminder that athletes competing in the horizontal jumps, vertical jumps, and all track events must have their spikes checked prior to the start of their event. Competitors must report to the clerk area in the garage at the south end of the main bleachers 15 minutes prior to the scheduled start time of their race. Relay teams report to the clerk area 30 minutes prior to the scheduled start time of their race. Field event athletes can report directly to their field event venue. A reminder that electronics are not allowed in restricted areas, which include the clerk area, the track, the infield, and all field event venues. This restriction is in place during practice sessions, warm-ups, and during the session. Electronics include phones, earbuds, and headphones. Coaches, please set an example for your athlete by not using cell phones while in the competition area. All athletes competing in concurrent events must fill out a concurrent event form listing those events. If one of the concurrent events is a running event, the form should be turned into the clerk of course. If the concurrent events are all field events, the form should be turned into one of the field event officials. Remember, running events always take precedence. Field event judges have several options to allow athletes to complete their attempts to accommodate checking out for another event. However, switching an athlete's flight in prelims is not an option. Athletes competing in concurrent running and field events must check in with the clerk of course before they report to their field event. The clerk of course will issue hip numbers and provide heat and lane assignments. The athletes should check out from their field event and report directly to the starting line when their event is scheduled to run. Once the field event official approves them checking out and records the time, the athlete will have 15 minutes in which to run their race or make attempts in another field event and return to check in. Please remind your athletes to check in with the official when they return so that the time may be recorded. Refer to the participating schools guide for more detailed information. Competitors must wear uniforms that are either school issued or school approved. Athletes are prohibited from wearing baseball caps or any item that is tied in a knot, including headbands and bandanas. Coaches, please make sure that all members of any relay team are all wearing the same color tops and the same color bottoms. Any visible garments worn under the uniform, with the exception of sports bras and underwear briefs, must be of a single solid color, and all members of the relay team wearing visible undergarments must match. Please refer to the Minnesota modifications for additional information. And again, I'm reminding you to encourage athletes to get their spikes checked during the practice session on Monday or as soon as they arrive on site for their competition. This will avoid congestion in the spike check area. Athletes must compete in all events in which they have qualified and are entered. If a competitor scratches one event, they are scratched from all events, both complete and future. Medical exceptions are on a case-by-case basis, with decisions made by the Games Committee in conjunction with medical staff on site in the tent behind the awards tent. 9 competitors will advance to finals in the horizontal jumps, throws, and all running events. If there's a tie for the final qualifying spot in the field events, both competitors will advance to the finals. Ties in running events will be determined to the thousandth of a second to break the tie. Finally, appeals must be submitted within 30 minutes of the announcement of event results. The head coach must submit an appeal form at the coach's representative tent near the finish line. Only head coaches may submit appeals. All appeals will then be brought to the referee, who will determine if the appeal is allowed. Appealable items include misapplication or misinterpretation of the rules, or not following the terms and conditions listed in the participating schools guide. Items that are not subject to protest are any judgment decision pertaining to violations or alleged violations of the rules, decisions made by finished judges, FAT operators that do not involve misapplication or misinterpretation of the rules, and decisions regarding fair starts made by the start team. Details on these items, as well as other terms and conditions of the meet, can be found in the participating schools guide. Please make sure to review the general sections, as well as the sections that pertain to the events in which your athletes are competing.
It is no surprise to know that students want to play, perform, and compete at their very best, especially at a meet like the State High School League Championships. These behavior expectations and requirements of attendees allow students to play and perform and compete at the highest levels. These expectations and requirements should be reviewed with your participants, any other members of your team that may be attending to encourage them, your student body, your assistant coaches, and your parents and other fans as well. As we bring today's meeting to a close, I would like to encourage you and your student athletes to thank the officials, the tournament personnel, activities director Keith Cornell and his incredible staff at STMA. All of these people are committed to providing a great experience for you and your athletes, and a word of gratitude and appreciation for their efforts would go a long way. Also, encourage former coaches, athletes, to consider registering as a track and field official. We're always looking for outstanding help, people who love the sport, who love serving and impacting kids positively, and your efforts to encourage others to step into that role of officiating will go a long way. Finally, a sincere congratulations again. What an accomplishment it is to qualify for the state high school track and field competition. We trust that you'll enjoy your state meet experience, and we wish you the best. We look forward to seeing you at St. Michael Albertville High School in June.